This is Jen Psaki, Joe Biden's former White House press secretary and current MSNBC host of The Briefing with Jen Psaki. On June 19th, Psaki dedicated 6 minutes talking about President Trump making a decision within 2 weeks whether or not to take action on Iran. Here's current White House press secretary Karoline Leavitt.
Regarding the ongoing situation in Iran, I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved. In light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
Now, President Trump's statement about whether or not he would attack Iran's nuclear facilities within 2 weeks was a big story. Jen Psaki, on the other hand, felt like it was a waste of newsprint.
A number of the nation's largest newspapers, and I don't say this lightly, I have a huge amount of respect for the media, but a number of the nation's largest newspapers made an age-old mistake today. They took the words of the Trump administration at face value and spit them right back out to the American public without context, without much of anything. Here were some of the headlines this afternoon. Here's one from the Wall Street Journal. Trump's Iran decision to come within 2 weeks. From the Washington Post, Trump says he'll decide on Iran strike within 2 weeks. And from the Associated Press, Trump says he'll decide whether U.S. will directly attack Iran within 2 weeks.
So Jen Psaki is offended that members of the media would accurately report the news. Got it.
It makes it sound like the current president wants to give himself and his advisors time to really consider. I mean, one of the most serious foreign policy decisions a president can make. He wants to be clear, maybe, to the public that they can expect a decision from him in 2 weeks. That would be under a normal presidency. And sure, I guess there's a percentage chance that's what's going on this time.
Spoiler alert, this segment would not age well.
I'll get to it in 2 weeks is one of Donald Trump's absolute favorite tactics. He literally uses it all the time. And most of the time, in fact, almost every time, when 2 weeks rolls around, Trump has either completely forgotten about whatever it was he promised in the first place, or, and I think this is more likely than the first one, he's hoping people have just moved on. That the news cycle is on to something else. Maybe something else he fabricated. Maybe just something else in general. I mean, he's already done this at least 10 times in the 6 months since he took office. 10 times.
So after complaining that the press was taking the words of the Trump administration at face value and printing them without context, Jen Psaki then showed the following montage of President Trump saying 2 weeks over and over again without context.
We're going to be sending letters out in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks, within 2 weeks. I could answer that question better in 2 weeks. I'll do this at some point over the next 2 weeks. I'll announce it over the next 2 weeks.
I'll tell you about that in a month from now or 2 weeks from now.
You trust President Putin? You know, in about 2 weeks. You can ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll see. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks. We're going to start selling, hopefully, in about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. Maybe it's a tick. Maybe he read a marketing report that says people move on in the media. Who knows?
Of course, Jen Psaki is the last person on cable news that should be complaining about somebody saying something over and over again.
I'll circle back, but I'll circle back with you. I will circle back to it. I'll have to just circle back with you, and we can circle back with you after the briefing. I'm happy to circle back with you. We will circle back with you. We'll have to take that question too and circle back with you. I hate to disappoint you, but I will have to circle back with you on that. We'll circle back with you directly, but I'm happy to circle back, but I'll have to circle back with you on it. We'll circle back with you on this. We will certainly circle back with you. I'm happy to circle back with you. We will venture to circle back with all of you on that after the briefing. I will venture to do that and circle back with you directly. I often note I'm going to circle back. I hate to disappoint conservative Twitter, but I am going to circle back.
But the point is, it's a tactic that Trump has used on almost every issue. From his fake timeline around Russia-Ukraine peace negotiations to his made-up timelines around big trade deals. Where are all those big trade deals, everyone? To his issuing visas for high-skilled immigrants. He claims it all is coming in just 2 weeks. Of course, it never does.
So Jen Psaki's premise is that Trump is constantly promising that things will happen in 2 weeks, but then 2 weeks rolls by and, quote, Trump has either completely forgotten about whatever it is he promised in the first place, or he's hoping people have just moved on. Psaki's 2-week montage is too weak, because it's supposed to be proof of this, but all she did was show a bunch of clips without context. So let's take a look at these clips again with context.
Who's next? Who are you expecting you to deal with next?
Well, we're dealing with Japan, we're dealing with South Korea, we're dealing with a lot of them. We're dealing with about 15 countries, but as you know, we have about 150 plus, and you can't do that. So we're going to be sending letters out in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, to countries, telling them what the deal is, like I did with EU.
So according to Jen Psaki, those letters weren't sent out? How does she even know that? I mean, the United States is in active trade negotiations with hundreds of countries, right?
So we can just sit down, and I'll do this at some point over the next 2 weeks, and I'll sit with Howard and Scott and with our great vice president, who has done a really good job. We have some good news to report on a lot of fronts, but JD will be there and Marco, and we're going to sit down and we're going to put very fair numbers down.
So Trump said that within 2 weeks, he's going to sit down with a bunch of cabinet members and talk trade. Again, did Trump not do that? Jen Psaki is full of it.
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks, within 2 weeks. I could answer that question better in 2 weeks.
I'll tell you about that in a month from now or 2 weeks from now.
You trust President Putin? You know, in about 2 weeks.
So those 4 clips were regarding the war in Ukraine. Let's play each one individually.
Did you in any way misread Vladimir Putin?
Did I what?
Misread him, now that you're saying that?
I'll tell you about that in a month from now or 2 weeks from now. I have no idea. I can tell you this, his ambition was stopped to a large extent when he saw that it was me that was now leading the charge.
I'll tell you about that in a month from now or 2 weeks from now. I have no idea. Does that sound like a definitive statement about anything? Oh, but Trump says 2 weeks a lot.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks, within 2 weeks. We're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently, but it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
So here, Trump is being asked, do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war? And Trump is saying, we'll see how it goes. And he's being optimistic that he'll have answers in 2 weeks.
You trust President Putin? You know, in about 2 weeks.
Same thing here. He's not promising anything. He's not setting deadlines. Oh, but he said 2 weeks, guys.
President Zelensky of Ukraine says that the Ukrainians are ready for a ceasefire. They're ready for peace negotiations. In your mind, is Ukraine doing enough to get this peace?
I'd rather tell you in about 2 weeks from now, because I can't say yes or no. I think, look, he's a strong person. Zelensky, a strong guy, and he's not the easiest person to deal with. But I think that he wants to stop. He's, not. It's a very bad thing that's happening over there. I think he wants to stop. But I could answer that question better in 2 weeks or 4 weeks from now. I hope the answer is that he wants to get it solved.
Now notice that all 4 of these examples were asking Trump about his opinion, but Jen Psaki claims that it's Trump lying about timelines or something.
This fake timeline around Russia-Ukraine peace negotiations.
You can ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll see.
Here Trump is like, I don't have an answer, but ask again in 2 weeks and we'll see if there's an answer. I don't even have to show you the rest of the clip, but here it is in context.
Zelensky has said that he wants more Patriot missiles. So far, has been no response from the United States. If you and the United States decides to pull out of negotiating for peace, trying to broker peace, does that also mean a no on Patriot missiles, a no on sharing intelligence with Ukraine?
Let's see what happens. I think we're going to make a deal. And if we make a deal, that'll be wonderful. We won't have to worry about your question. You can ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll see.
So Trump said this on April 24th, and it was reported that the US was sending Ukraine a Patriot air defense system less than 2 weeks later on May 4th.
About 2 weeks, about 2 weeks.
The next clips are about the Trump Gold Card, which, when implemented, would replace the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Visa Program and offer permanent residency and a pathway to US citizenship for world-class global citizens.
Also, with the 5 million, that's a path to citizenship. So that's going to be, it's sort of a green card plus, and it's a path to citizenship. We're going to call it the Gold Card, and I think it's going to be very treasured. I think it's going to do very well, and we're going to start selling, hopefully, in about 2 weeks. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. See that? You know what that card is?
Gold card.
It's the Gold Card. The Trump card, Gold Card.
Who's the first buyer?
Me. I'm the first. I don't know, but I'm the first buyer. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks, probably. Pretty exciting, right?
So the Trump card wasn't launched in about 2 weeks. But then again, saying 2 weeks, hopefully or probably, is not a definitive statement. Regardless, the trumpcard.gov website is up now. And reportedly, nearly 70,000 people have signed up for the waiting list. Even if only 10,000 of those applicants were to be approved for visas, it would bring in $50 billion to the United States. But, don't report on that or anything, Jen.
He claims it all is coming in just 2 weeks. Of course, it never does. And honestly, it's a bit maddening that this tactic can still spark headlines like all of the ones I read earlier.
And notice that beyond the 2-week Iran decision, Circleback Psaki didn't put up headlines about all of the things that Trump supposedly missed deadlines on. Oh, right, because they don't exist. And it wasn't only Orange Woman Bad who got the Trump 2 weeks memo. Several media outlets jumped on this non-story in an effort to undermine Trump and make him look like some kind of flake.
But if that 2-week timeline that you heard there sounds familiar, that's because it is.
Aw, she thinks she's so clever. But instead, the media's little exercise aged like milk.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Anyway, that's it for now. Follow me on X at Don't Walk Run, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time, if there is next time.